Assuming that existence had taken 10% longer to boost in the world, it wouldn't exist by using any stretch of the creativeness. Nearly a long time again, we said our farewells to Explorer 1, sending it on a challenge of no return. A challenge that need to open new gateways in how we would interpret the nearby planet institution. Like a devoted employee, Explorer 1 has been sending again crowds of facts to Earth, uncovering great revelations approximately our universe and taking us on a tour into new universes we by no means knew existed. Now, Explorer has taken its work excessively far, however, really by dropping an interstellar stunner inside the laps of researchers who couldn't consider their eyes as they regarded in surprise on the surprising information that Explorer 1 just sent to Earth. An unnerving revelation that is almost enhancing grandiose records, as far as we is probably worried. What is this stressful revelation that Explorer 1 just found out? Is it authentic that the Explorer has crossed into interstellar space? Be part of us on this interesting, grandiose tour as we investigate what came about. Interstellar area has visible nothing like Explorer 1 before, as this scientific masterpiece has explored depths in our universe that shock even the nice of researchers. This engineering thriller has gone into locales that we by no means predicted to discover. Incredible disclosures which can be revising how we might interpret interstellar area. For more than 45 years, Explorer 1 has discovered beautiful discoveries that stargazers never imagined we would stumble upon. At the least now not inside the spacecraft's lifetime. Unluckily, we could not were greater wrong. Considering that Explorer 1 has stunned anybody with the aid of surviving past its ordinary lifestyle's expectancy. Like a Shakespearean myth, Explorer 1 has now not only handed its projected lifestyle's expectancy but has wandered into distances that have left the whole clinical network shocked. We cannot face up to the urge to be in awe of a spacecraft that is billions of miles from its platform. A spacecraft that has wowed all and sundry with its ingenuity in changing the basics of area exploration. Way to Explorer 1. Researchers have been forced to discard a few prescribing beliefs and include new thought models in regards to interstellar area trips. It is almost like we were learning from the books written in real time. Explorer 1 has held each person entranced with the aid of its crazy ability to nevertheless ship lower back records to Earth, in spite of its very some distance in area. It is significantly lovely that we're continuously getting facts from the spacecraft notwithstanding its previous era. It does not make sense. The spacecraft could not care much less approximately how this makes us experience, because it has left a shock on our faces with its most recent goosebumps-shivering disclosure. That is one revelation researchers haven't stopped discussing considering the fact that they deciphered the new message that the Explorer shipped off Earth. Apparently, the Explorer would possibly have given us the interstellar disclosure of the last decade. A disclosure we didn't need to carry a finger to locate. What more may we uncover? The adventure to establishing the mysteries of the universe did not start these days. However, dates as far returned as 1965, while the motor of space exploration was simply beginning to rev up. We cannot recount this story without citing Gary Flandreau, who labored at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He was the wonderful thoughts entrusted with converting an appropriate way for an area probe that could venture to the some distance off giants of our planetary system, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Flandreau took in this overwhelming venture with exquisite confidence and set to work, setting his pencil to brilliant use for several hours. Then, in the overdue 70s and early 1980s, all four gas giants would align in a grandiose dance, forming a divine necklace with Earth. This was a as soon as in a lifetime occasion, an enormous second that we might probably never see again. From the facts Flandreau had exposed, it changed into obvious that a spacecraft passing by way of every planet ought to benefit a speed boost from its gravitational pressure, like an invisible rope pulling it. It dawned on Flandreau that an excursion from Earth to Neptune, which could have in the beginning taken 30 years, could be shortened to 12 years due to those gravity assists. Without wasting time, Flandreau relayed his findings to the pinnacle brass of NASA and advised that we begin making full-size plans to seize the possibility this exceptional cosmic event could provide us. This is due to the fact this wonderful celestial event handiest occurs once every 176 years. NASA acted speedy to avoid lacking out on this once-in-a-lifetime risk. It did not shock astronomers when the space agency released two twin spacecraft, Explorer 1 and Explorer, inside 15 days of each other in 1977. The space probes left the beaches of Earth for space with one command embedded of their laptop system: inspect the some distance off giants in our solar machine. Despite the fact that researchers had been hopeful that those area Voyagers would monitor divine disclosures, nothing had prepared them for the file-breaking discoveries that those area tests might by accident discover on this first-rate journey. The twin spacecraft lived as much as their call through efficiently embarking on a grandiose adventure that has enlightened how we interpret the planetary machine and interstellar area. Commonly, one would expect their mild to be extinguished with time. However, we couldn't have been greater incorrect. Those exceptional area adventurers maintained to blast forward in space, exploring depths we never imagined they could go to and maintaining us abreast of the discoveries they make through the statistics they send again to the ground crew on this planet. They have earned their vicinity within the history books through wandering into the farthest distances trodden with the aid of any space probe in human records. Moreover, they constantly flabbergast all and sundry by being the oldest recognized spacecraft in history. We can't assist, however, have the drums rolling in their tribute because their unique undertaking spans were expected to remaining only 4 years. But they bowled over doubters and everybody else by pushing beyond the restrict that had been located on their presence. The tale continues to get greater sublime as time passes, and researchers just cannot get sufficient of the surprising revelations that the explorers keep to ship our manner. Due to the fact that the beginning of their journey, those courageous spacecraft have given us interesting up-near views of Jupiter and Saturn. They took the blindfold off our eyes concerning our influence of these giant planets, correcting misconceptions and broadening the lens through which we view those a long way off worlds. Way to the journey throughout the great hole that had restricted how we interpreted these a long way off giants. It turned into slowly crowned off as our eyes have become trained to the charming new worlds we did not realize existed on Jupiter or Saturn. Researchers couldn't conceal their awe at the fact that these worlds were strikingly extra beautiful, dynamic, and lively than we'd have imagined. Astronomers almost shouted in joy while the records furnished with the aid of these area probes confirmed that these planets house dynamic volcanoes and outstanding ice fields. It turned into like researchers have been granted entry into a Disneyland full of the most awe-inspiring space discoveries they could conceive. Who might have imagined that a spacecraft, that's just a unique Volkswagen Scarab, may want to step into unknown territory and emerge with impossible revelations. Like an ambitious hunter bold to go into the thick of a dense forest, Explorer 2 did the unexpected through being the primary spacecraft to get so close to Uranus in 1986. Furthermore, it's solid in advance with this tremendous adventure until it handed Neptune in 1989. Up to this point, the records books hold Explorer's call as the simplest spacecraft to have gone to such lengths in exploring these two ice giants. What historians locate extra fantastic are the milestone discoveries these remarkable visits have added to life. We might have stayed inside the dark concerning our impression of those some distance off worlds if Explorer 2 hadn't dared to journey that some distance, and tour that has located it extra than 14 billion miles from our planet. Explorer 1 couldn't have triumphed over everyone's expectations all via itself. Early in its journey, it wished help. We were given to peer this while its grand adventure started with a gravity assist from Venus, a flow never attempted earlier than by using any spacecraft on their manner to Mercury. The explorer's adventure is filled with facts of many firsts. They continue to set data each passing day as they cruise through the fascinating waves of interstellar area. As exciting as this story sounds, it changed into absolutely no longer a smooth experience for the explorers. It appears smooth now, however years ago, whilst the distance probes had been shifting through the diverse levels of this journey, they had a worrying atmosphere overshadowing them. We see evidence of this throughout their numerous tries to make the important circulate to Mercury. In truth, the first leg of their journey to Jupiter turned into no longer rosy in any respect, as the journey took them to a distance multiple times further from Earth than Mercury. This awe-inspiring adventure noticed the probes navigate through the treacherous asteroid belt, a path that threatened to postpone them from their purpose. But the spacecraft hadn't come this some distance to be stopped, in order that they pressed on till they crossed the risky place and endured their heavenly exploration of the planetary gadget. Although the explorer had passed through the asteroid belt accurately, its troubles didn't stop there. There were still many challenges anticipating the spacecraft because it cruised through area. Researchers found out that the explorer became in a tight spot, particularly when we do not forget that its simplest had 69 kilobytes of reminiscence, which became equivalent to a fragment of a cutting-edge phone storage. Therefore, the spacecraft's computer systems needed to rely upon onboard systems to address the complexities in their journey. Apparently, the records accrued by means of the spacecraft's devices needed to be saved on tape recorders earlier than being sent return to Earth through a modest 23-watt transmitter that was as effective as a refrigerator mild. Since the Explorer was ready with 12-meter dish antennas, it could without difficulty use radio communique visiting at the rate of light to send and acquire messages. However, we cannot be in awe of their remarkably a long-way distance from Earth, which located itself as an obstacle on the spacecraft's success journey. The tremendous distance made it tough for the spacecraft to live linked with Earth. It became out that alerts from Explorer took over 18 hours earlier than they had been obtained by means of the ground crew in the world. This undertaking became in addition compounded via the increasing interference from Earth's noise. Radios, TVs, and cell phones, which made it more difficult to hear faint whispers coming from the spacecraft. Nonetheless, Explorer 1 and its dual have triumphed over these hurdles year after 12 months. For the reason that Explorer set out on its adventure via the interstellar voids of our universe, it's been mailing returned mythical discoveries to researchers, revelations that have left astronomers with their mouths huge open. These discoveries are beyond incredible, as they're revising our expertise of the some distance off domain in our universe. The ideals we held expensive about our universe are being tossed into the trash bin as a new know-how of the universe is being mounted proper earlier than our eyes. One of the highlights of this captivating interstellar adventure changed into recorded when the Explorer wandered into the Oort cloud, which is a panoramic heavenly amassing of comet-like substances bound collectively by the sun's gravitational pull, extending midway in the direction of the nearest star. This a long way off area is one of the mysterious regions that the Explorer has been investigating, and it's far slowly uncovering the limitless secrets and techniques hidden deep inside this astronomical realm. Furthermore, one area where an Explorer 1 seemed to have radiated brightly changed into interstellar space, in which the sun-wind anomalies provide way to an extra open frontier. Earlier than the Explorer should step into this captivating location, it needed to go the heliopause, the boundary between our planetary machine and interstellar space. The instant the Explorer crossed this line, area professionals jumped up in exhilaration, and the complete academic community began to dream about the first-rate discoveries that might come from this certainly fantastic event. The Explorer's introduction to this unknown vicinity came with several confusing questions. For instance, the preliminary estimates of the heliopause distance earlier than the Explorer probes arrived had been inconsistent, but scientists expected it to be about 50 galactic units. As a result, the venture's funding was prolonged. But what astronomers observed surprising become that because the spacecraft departed from this milestone, no regular symptoms of interstellar tour were detected. So we are able to apprehend why researchers had been perplexed by means of this startling state of affairs. They waited in vain for symptoms of this amazing occasion, but none surfaced. Scientists had been bowled over. One of the symptoms predicted to move into interstellar space became a sudden increase in cosmic rays, excessive electricity debris expelled from supernovae and other explosions at almost the rate of light. But maximum low-power cosmic rays are deflected by using the full-size magnetic subject created via the heliosphere. This heliosphere is the universe's gift to our planetary machine because it shields our inner solar machine from maximum of its outside threats. It is like a large guard ensuring the protection of the whole lot within the internal sun system. Moreover, the Explorer's floor group had their eyes locked on the spacecraft as they saved tabs on modifications inside the prevailing magnetic area. Additionally, the interstellar medium, composed of ionized gases and inspired by way of neighboring stars, become expected to have a distinct magnetic subject path in comparison to the heliosphere. Consequently, researchers had been shocked while the Explorer introduced no symptoms of such adjustments. This astonished scientists further at this juncture, as it became clear that the spacecraft had wrapped itself in a thick veil of thriller. The photo had become less foggy when, on August 25, 2012, the Explorer crossed the heliopause and sent lower back charming records to the floor group on the planet. The transmitted facts showed the anticipated increase in plasma density, but the tale wasn't entirely a hit. That is because there was no signal of a trade in the surrounding magnetic area route. Area professionals determined it difficult to come to phrases with this truth, because it becomes startling. It were predicted that a change in the magnetic discipline path could show up while transitioning from an area dominated by using the solar's magnetic field to at least one encouraged by other stars. It took a while earlier than the lovely locating sank in. Both manner, if we stroll lower back in time to November 2018, we'd be greeted by a captivating reel of ways Explorer 2 launched into a stunning adventure to the interstellar ocean. This one-of-a-kind challenge created buzz within the instructional community and has stayed on the lips of astronomers in view that we cannot fault them for being intrigued with the aid of this fantastic occasion, which noticed the spacecraft arrive on the heliopause, the boundary of our planetary system, at 120 galactic gadgets from Earth. What's exciting is that this turned into the equal distance its twin, Explorer 1, had reached 6 years in advance. Area specialists had been thrilled that Explorer 2 ought to mirror the identical feat, what researchers still found confusing, but become how Explorer 2 had detected no modifications inside the magnetic fields, which contradicted what theoretical fashions had expected. This abnormal event poured an extra dose of thriller into the pool of otherworldliness that the spacecraft became swimming in. Area professionals have been scratching their heads in search of a solution. However, every step of the manner, they met a roadblock. It seemed as even though the shadows were certain to win over this count number forever. It turned into mind-blowing that the Explorer's conduct went opposite to expectations. For example, predictions instructed us that the heliosphere, that's influenced by using the solar's 11-year cycle, ought to have ebbed and flowed just like the solar wind. Researchers have been bowled over when current fashions didn't explain the inconsistencies in the Explorer's observations, especially because the solar wind peaked upon Explorer's arrival, suggesting that the heliopause can be farther than 120 galactic devices, closer to the interstellar medium. Minor modifications close to the heliopause, encouraged by the heliosphere, raised questions on the Explorer's development into the actual interstellar magnetic area. Conflicting views arose amongst researchers. Some consider the Explorer stays inside the heliospheric bubble, at the same time as others think it has already crossed into interstellar space, suffering from increased cosmic radiation and plasma density. These explorers, going for walks on decades-antique era with minimal programming, maintain to fascinate as they method Proxima Centauri, promising fantastic revelations if their mission extends into 2030.